Welcome to Revival Records Podcasts. I'm Peyton, one of the co-founders of Revival, as well as a singer, songwriter, and performer who has spent the last 20 years riding the roller coaster, otherwise known as the music business. And in this podcast, I speak to talented artists, producers, DJs, music moguls, songwriters, musicians, basically anyone brave enough or just crazy enough to make the business of music their mission in life. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with a longtime friend and collaborator, but really a veteran of the house music scene. Paul Gardner is a DJ, a producer, and somebody who may be known to many of you as one half of the hugely successful Soul Avengerz duo. But Paul was making records and DJing sometime before that chapter began, getting his start in the early 90s. Before DJing was even cool, Paul was obsessed with the music and was quite quickly making a name for himself on the scene. He got noticed in 92 by Judge Jules, voted best newcomer to the house scene in DJ Mag, and went from residency to residency, eventually working for the Pushka parties. If you can remember those super ultra glamorous, decadent parties everybody was trying to get into. And that just really turned out to be the boot camp training he needed for what was coming, because when he connected with Wayne O'Connell and they decided to start Soul Avengerz, it really very quickly blew up. They had huge success. The demand for Soul Avengerz all over the world was huge. And their releases, their productions were just one floor filler, chart-topping hit after another. They built up quite a catalog. And Paul is somebody I love and trust because he always speaks his mind. He's a purist when it comes to the music, but he's also honest in just about every way I can imagine. And he's just somebody that you can have a laugh with. So it's really a treat to have him in the studio today. And also sitting in the studio with me today and Paul is a DJ who was at the beginning of her journey, but has been making some big waves in the clubbing scene. MiNNA is an extraordinarily talented young lady who, since she was 12, she's been crate digging. Yeah, I just learned that expression. Definition being that she loves to look for old records that still resonate today on the dance floor and that were maybe lost or forgotten. And she also has an incredible, just infectious joy and energy when she plays. So she's really grabbed the attention of the industry. And it seems like everybody's of the opinion she is on her way to being at the forefront of the next generation of the globe-trotting DJs. So I thought it'd be fun to have Paul and MiNNA together because Paul's got a lot of stories. I hope that Paul doesn't manage to put her off and scare her into accepting a job in IT or whatever it is clever people do for work that isn't the madness of the music industry. Please welcome to Revival Records Podcast number 6, Paul Gardner and MiNNA. You're one of my favorite humans in the whole world, and you have been for a very long time.
Amazing, thank you.
That's true.
Yeah, you said it to every guest. I know you do. I've seen all the others.
I do not say that to all my guests. That's not true. You and I have particularly special history because not only have we shared a very similar, I think, trajectory or path in this crazy house music world because of the style of music we both were making. We also made a lot of music together. You know, I really was thinking this morning, I was like, how many records have I made with? And actually, I think we've actually made 4 records together.
More than that. I would say more.
Well, really?
Give thanks.
Give thanks. Never give up.
You can't hide.
Give New Day.
New Day.
You can't hide. That's 4.
And Wayne's did one with you, didn't he?
Well, Wayne's. We're going to count one. Wayne. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll count that one in as well.
Wayne is the other Soul Avenger who's still dining out on the name Soul Avengerz. I love how you guys do it like separately.
Yeah.
It's like Paul Soul Avengerz and Wayne Soul Avengerz.
Yeah.
But the two are no longer.
We do a little bit together.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Oh,
not too much.
That's good to know because
we're still friends.
Well, thank God for that.
Yeah.
And we have also in the studio, we have the young.
The young.
Look at that. Young.
Bringing the average age down.
Baby.
Bringing the average age down considerably.
Christ. I mean, like the youth of today, look at her. Fresh. She's got her life in front of her, all the possibilities swirling around her like girls in ball gowns.
Music. Get out of music, whatever you do. No, sorry, cut that.
No, he does not mean it.
I don't
He
mean
does
it.
actually, but yeah, but we will get to that because, it'd be interesting to get Paul's very cynical view on life and see if it's enough to put you off your passion. Because MiNNA is a DJ, an aspiring producer, and doing some work with us at
and a very
Revival
good
Records.
selector as well, which is key. Which is
very good
key.
selector.
Yeah.
I don't actually know what that means, but selecting the music, you mean?
Yes, just having a really good ear for good music, which what I feel with the young generation
is that like a DJ term? Selector?
Yeah, selector.
Like Bose selector.
Yeah. Crate digger.
Crate digger. Wow, I'm learning some new terms here. So, okay. So MiNNA, who is a great selector, crate digger, and a fresh face on the scene who is sure to be one that's very known and loved soon. It won't be long before you'll be a celebrity and you're not going to want to talk to any of us. These old farts.
Oh, these guys.
So it's great to get you in the studio, Paul, because, we've been talking to the artists, we've been talking to producers and everybody that's been involved in our projects and also just people working in music in general. But I'd like to talk to you in MiNNA, I think, as a young DJ who's at the beginning of her story, also might have some particularly interesting questions she'd like to ask because, a DJ's life is sort of, the cliche is that, you've had a kind of a wild and crazy adventure. Now,
you know me.
I do know you, and the truth is, unfortunately, people in this
there's
case,
no rock star here.
Probably not quite the lifestyle that I've had, being a rock star. But you've always been kind of a good guy. I mean,
I've been. I kind of feel like I got into it for not saying that you didn't, but I got into it for the music and the music only, not for the lifestyle.
Oh,
where I see nowadays and a lot of kids coming through, they want to be a footballer. Okay, you're not really good at football. Right, I'll be a DJ instead. That'll get me the girls. That'll get me the fame.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess.
And that's something that I've really detested and I got into it way before it was even a thing, to be fair. And even when it was a thing, it was a nerdy thing. It wasn't a cool thing. Yeah. I just had a real passion for music.
Well, to be fair, yeah, I did too, and I can't really say that I went into music because I wanted to pursue a debauched lifestyle because I was already living one. So I didn't need to be poor and debauched.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we made some records together, and those records all four of those records, for instance, have been a sound that we both love.
Yeah, and we've stuck by that sound.
Which
is a good story because I feel like there were times when we was edged to move our sound on and follow the trends. And it kind of made Soul Avengerz unpopular from being really popular and getting lots of work to being not so popular. Sticking by my guns and sticking.
Did that feel like that was over? Because I remember this period you're talking about. Did it feel like it was almost from one week to the next? Or did it feel gradual?
It was a quick gradual. It wasn't one week to the next, but electro came in after.
Yeah.
And everyone was jumping on, which they do, I get it. And you try and look for influences to move your sound on to not just stick with the same formula. But the more it got...
But we really struggled with that
because it lost its funk, it lost its soul, it lost all of the stuff that we loved.
That we loved.
And it was more harder and it was more, and it just... And at the time, like I said, you kind of stick to your morals really and go, you know what, I'm going to just stick to what I do, which was always my philosophy from the start, which is what I'll say to MiNNA is, just do what you love and do what you believe in, and hopefully people will resonate with that. That's don't chase. This is really popular now. I'm going to do this music, or this is really cool.
I mean, so MiNNA, what is your thing? What is the thing that you're?
I think my sound, I've definitely inspired from like the 70s and like sounds from like the discotheque sort of era, and especially because my parents would play like house tracks back in the day. So that's sort of like I want to bring that forward into this era. I just feel like there's so much music out there, but not enough that can kind of it has its sort of authentic sound to it as it did back then. Like it's all changed into more sort of.
You realize that when she says her
techno
parents
based.
listened to like house records back in the day and era,
Vintage.
Yeah.
So depressing. You're probably talking about what, the late 90s?
Yeah.
Well, her parents are probably big fans.
Wish I was around for that stage. Sounds like it really popped off.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
It was
It was
really
amazing.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, you missed out.
I think it's come back now.
but I did.
I think the last 3 to 5 years, I feel like, we know it is, disco's come right back to the forefront, and people are making really good edits and cut-ups, and they're taking a lot of that musicality and putting it into new house music. So it's kind of come back around again. I think it's become really popular again.
Yeah. I know you've had some experiences that were, over the years, hilarious, as we all have in this business.
Yeah.
Some adventures, things that were, at the time, you're just like asking yourself, is this really happening? I mean, have you got some stories? I'd love to hear, because I know you and I both, for a couple of years, about 5 years for me, working in Russia and Ukraine.
Yes, I think it was probably about 3 years for us. They did the live PA thing quite a lot before. They did.
There was suddenly money, and they were throwing it at all of us.
Yeah, we did do a lot of Eastern Europe, because America wasn't on the cards then.
Yeah.
There was no.
Never
which was
really
a shame.
It never really has been for me.
No. Which is really, because it feels like now Americans have finally got.
Does it?
House music. Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna be my time. As an American, I spent 20 years running around the world, and I used to say I literally am traveling and performing everywhere except
my own country.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Which happens to be the country where disco and house and all of these things.
Yeah, it's born.
Well, we kind of, the Americans,
weird.
They created it, sold it to us, and then we've kind of sold it back to them 30 years later.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you weren't crazy. You said, you didn't, you weren't snorting coke out of shag carpets and, like many that we know.
Yeah.
But you did have some pretty crazy adventures.
Yeah, of course. Just real different cultures as well, which was crazy. Like, going to far-flung, where it did feel like you'd gone back 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
That was some of the craziest
Interesting. So to be able to travel the world and kind of get that.
Yeah. And you know what? One of my biggest regrets, and I say that to my artists now. Now I'm in management. We'll maybe pick up that later. But I say,
I know what you're going to say. And I don't think you've said this to me before.
No,
I know it.
Try and experience it. I literally stayed in my room and ordered room service. And
we'll go and experience the culture around.
Here you go. So there you go.
Yeah,
there's
one of your
advice.
biggest advice is when you go to Red Square or when you go to Egypt or when you go to all these places, don't just sit in your room with your laptop.
Stuck in.
Just explore. And Wayne was probably more up for that than I was. I was always
would you never? I mean, really, you'd never get out and.
So many countries now. And then when it stopped and when your gigs dry up, you go, wow, I've been
everywhere, but nowhere. Yeah.
And I'd always get the first flight home really early in the morning to be back to my family, or instead of just saying, you know what, give me the day after and I'm just going to chill and wander around. And
I really can't. I have to say, I did take advantage to a large degree, but I didn't have a family to get back to. So I was able to, at least sometimes stay, meet a lover and spend another 4 or 5 days there, getting to know the culture.
Yeah.
I had
quite
that
literally.
Option. But I did often exactly that. I just you're tired, and
I've literally must have driven past Red Square in a taxi or
and now you
and not even
stopped
to go to just have a little wander through and then get back in the car.
That opportunity is never going to come again.
Well, next time, Yeah, I know, and obviously with the world it is now. I know. So
as an American and as a Brit,
I
don't think we'll ever be working in Russia again or the Russian Federation. I had some wild experiences in Russia. I mean, crazy. It's just insane. But tell me one of yours. Can you remember any?
One of the craziest, and it's a funny story, but we used to go to Russia quite a bit, and we'd get our itinerary, and it'd always be fly to Moscow, and then it'll be another connecting flight, or Moscow or St. Petersburg, but generally another connecting flight. And they'd always be around 2 to 4 hours. Never really. This is where we had no mobile phones with any games or you just had a phone that just made calls.
Yeah.
So, but the internal flights in Aeroflot,
Aeroflot
were pretty basic, and I mean way back more basic than Ryanair or any of those.
Remember that? Fish, chicken. They cut fish, chicken. You're like,
I remember getting
a little sauce.
Yeah.
Or is there anything else? You know,
Only one or the other.
I mean, some of the places we went on, I remember getting on one where it looks like they'd bought it from another airline and just
stuck on the...
literally painted it all over no smoking sign. So it was obviously a no
smoking sign.
It
But they
was
still
tin
smoke.
can with
There's still smoke on the
smoke on it.
smoke. So bad. Anyway, so one of the times
Does it have propellers?
was a no. I didn't get on one of them. I've seen the not too fancy those. What's amazing about that country though, and not to big it up too much because of what's happening, but they could deal with minus 17 degrees.
Oh, listen.
And
That's actually...
and we would turn up at a club, we would land and go, oh my God, snow on the side of the road would be at least 8 foot.
You'd be arriving in a blizzard.
So nuts.
And
It's
I'm
like-
thinking,
Not a
I think no one's going to go out. And when you think of Londoners and you speak to you, it's a bit rainy, I'm not going out
Yeah.
tonight.
So true. And the club would be packed.
Packed.
Women in tiny little dresses.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say. So we
That's
was
so
we was doing this one gig. It was pretty amazing, like a spectacular venue, and it was the same. It was blizzard. It was like it was past minus 10. I can't remember, minus 12 or minus 13. And I was like, there's going to be no one out.
Yeah, of course.
And you pull up, and you've got, supercars are not even the word. That some of the cars. I mean, I'd never seen a silver-plated car before. You can see them quite a bit now because of the internet and stuff.
That's the first place I saw one,
But
too.
you had these amazingly like 300 grand cars, 400 grand cars.
That's so nuts.
And this queue, just like you said, with girls with their tiny little mini skirts.
Beautiful women.
Yeah.
Hideous men.
Yes.
But rich.
Yeah, but rich. Funniest story on that is that, so we had a table, one of the gigs, we had a table next to our when we was DJing, he said, oh, this is your table for drinks. And it had these like Fabergé diamond crystal like holders for the
Oh my
vodka.
gosh, so over the top.
Said 12 grand they're worth. And they would just leave them on the table. All the rich guys would have a table each. And then girls would just be swarming around because when the guy leaves,
They dive in and...
they've got 12
You should have
grand.
grabbed one.
Yeah, you should take
Yeah.
trophy.
That
You're
was-
the
yeah.
DJ. You could be
Souvenir.
Like, hey, I'm the one that's been working here tonight.
So
That's
that's the kind of level of but they were all right. Some of the gigs were a bit rubbish because they didn't really understand the music. Or I remember once where we were struggling a little bit. And we was like, no, it's just not vibing. So we just thought, right, let's just drop. I don't know let's say Precious Love as an example. Let's play that. That will get them going.
Yeah.
And they just didn't get it. And
Didn't get it.
or you'd play a record that you think they'd really get and they didn't. So, but other times it would be really great.
Didn't you get kidnapped one time?
No, it wasn't.
Did you?
No, we didn't get kidnapped.
Oh my
So what happened is,
where was this, in
we'd
Russia?
Gone to Moscow, and then the next flight was another 8 hours, right? Which is insane.
That's how big.
That's
it's a big
like
country.
a long...
We go again three time zones right to the edge, which is called a
Vladivostok.
right? Which is right. In
Where's that on the
We could
north?
practically swim to Japan from there.
Yeah, well, when it was exactly.
I
You
mean,
are literally right on the other
Yeah.
side of Russia. And I never really took much notice. I was like, wow. When we landed, I felt like I'd gone back at least 30 years. The hotels, the restaurants.
I mean,
It was
Out of
so
date.
it was so dated, but it was a really good party. But we got picked up at the airport, and the promoters always really well spoken English, and they're studying in England or they've been to England. Their English is always amazing, but you very rarely get anyone else speak English, like literally anyone else. Yeah, so anyone you come into contact with, and it's quite abrupt and quite just trying to ask for where can I buy a sandwich, and they're just like
the people skills are a little
yeah. So this guy's really super helpful, and he comes out, he's like, we're really excited to get you here. We love your music and that. So I was like, brilliant. And I walk to the car, and then he's got these two big 6'7" big guys with black leather coat, like full length coats, like kind of
So intense.
Matrix
Yeah,
style,
Matrix.
exactly that, Matrix style. And they're just walking behind us, and I'm like, bit weird. So just carry on to the car.
But were you with the promoter at this time?
Yes, with the promoter,
Yeah.
these two kind of bodyguards.
Yeah.
They assume so.
Yeah, and then as he's leaning in the car, I just see this big gun and these things. Like, so I said to the promoter, "What the hell? He's got a gun." He went, "No, it's here to look after us. The last international DJs got kidnapped." And I was like,
oh my
what?
God, it's not very like
I know,
just rocked up and you're getting...
No. Good kidnapped.
Oh my
said,
God.
What's good kidnapped? So he said, well, he said, we booked some international, he didn't say who it was. He said, we booked some international guests, but at the airport, the rival club came in the car, a limo, and said, hold the sign up for whoever it is. I don't know who it was, but for argument's sake, let's say one of my fellow DJs that we knew. And then he got in the car, which wasn't the Club A, it was Club B's, and hijacked him. And they had 6, let's say, ladies in the car for him. And they drove around for the whole time.
Oh my God.
And then put it out that...
There's 6 ladies in the car.
In the car
That's
for
actually...
him while he was kidnapped.
What?
Well, that was nice.
So it's a nice kidnap.
Yeah, good kidnap.
Sexual.
Yeah. So and then they put out that this other club, Club A, were fake and they wasn't even booking these DJs and they don't even book the DJs.
Wait, so how long were they driving around for?
So he missed his gig.
Well, just so he missed the gig.
So he missed his gig.
Oh my...
That's some guerrilla like
tactics.
That is
hardcore
like-
tactics.
Yeah.
Can you tell us off camera who that...
No, I don't.
He said-
He never
didn't
told
even
me.
know.
No, he didn't tell me who it was. He said, I can't tell you who it was, but yeah.
So
That's like
man, this is
such
what
a nut... Yeah, watch
you have to
out.
look forward
That
to.
wasn't. Yeah,
That's
wasn't. Yeah, so that was. That's the fun.
That's so...
I love that though.
Yeah, that is
Vladivostok.
Vladivostok. But it was actually quite a good gig. I vaguely remember.
Were they
They
it.
were
into
probably
it?
staying in the same hotel that I did. It was I remember calling my my manager and going, Barry, I think he must have made a mistake. I'm not in a 5-star hotel because the writer stipulated a 5-star hotel,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
of course there was no such thing.
No.
So and I was like, I think I'm in a nursing home.
I really think it's the same place.
Really?
I'm
I
sure.
literally
I'm
even had the
sure.
smell of a nursing home.
Oh,
Well, like
it was-
Dettol
it
and
was-
like...
It was so gross. And then so I checked in and I'm like, oh man, I get to my room, just like, and then the woman from the reception called me up. This was Vladivostok as well. And she said, Mr. Payton, is everything okay with your room? And I'm like looking around going, well, yeah, I mean, it's great. What are you going to say?
Yeah.
Would you like me to send up some pretty girls?
Really?
I was always offered prostitutes in Russia. It was part of the culture. It was just
That's
very
so-
commonplace.
so bizarre.
But
I
very,
didn't.
but very, very,
That's like-
very rare.
We offered
I
this.
was always from the promoters. They're always trying to send Natasha or whoever up to my. They knew that I was
Come
there.
up
I
to
was on
Peyton's
my
lair.
own,
Yeah.
and it seemed very nice and generous. And I was always kind of like, oh, thank you, but my wife and kids are at home, and I'm really tired. You know what I mean? 'Cause, Russia wasn't really somewhere that you
No,
wanted
you
to
could
be
be
like,
openly.
oh no, my husband and I,
Yeah,
we don't really have an
yeah.
open policy that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of kept that on the down low, but I very rarely got offered. I think that was the only time I got offered from the receptionist.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really...
It was like, but anyway, when she said it, I said, "What to redecorate my room?"
Yeah, it's just like,
Which she did not get. So Vladivostok,
what a weird...
Yeah.
strange place, but
Yeah.
blessed to have visited and gone to these.
Yeah, you know
extremely-
what? Yeah, exactly.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
But look, I'd like to get, MiNNA's thoughts. I mean, you must have some questions for a seasoned,
Yeah.
old, decaying
Not that
DJ,
Vintage
who's
DJ.
just
Vintage. Yeah.
barely
Yeah.
hanging on at the
Where are we?
the last dregs
Yeah.
of life before he completely slips away.
Yeah.
Some music, some questions about music, or some questions as a DJ that might be.
Yeah, come on, Minna.
I think to start with, I'd like to ask you what would your parents have wanted you to be if you weren't a DJ?
That's quite a good one, actually.
Good one.
I remember my mum wanting me to work for BT
Really?
because
Hotline.
could
as
get
an
a
engineer,
discount.
as a BT engineer,
Yeah.
because her friend's son was doing that, and they get a good pension. I remember that. Yeah. So
Then you'll be sorted.
So I was young. So I'm born in August. So I was always the youngest in my year.
Yeah, I'm same.
you
August as well.
Yeah.
Always the youngest.
So I was the youngest, and then so when I finished my exams and stuff. I didn't go on to uni. I wasn't obviously clever like the rest of my family. I was waiting for my card to come through, my, what do you call it? The workers' card, whatever it is, national insurance card. And I played a lot of football at that time. I was into music, and 17 of my friends went to work in the post office.
17?
The same. So I just thought...
How would any of the letters got posted? It's like...
Well, we had a big sorting office in Islington. So, and they had a good football team, and it was like so I just joined there, and I did that for about 6 or 8 months.
What would you do?
You're like a postal cadet, so you're not really doing much. You're just sorting, like putting in boxes. Yeah.
A postal cadet.
Love that name.
For about 6 weeks. But I was into photography and I was into design, and so straight away, while I was waiting for my national insurance, I took this job. So it gave me, because they paid £84 a week, which was so much money then. I literally used to give my mum £10 and I had £74 to go out partying. You could go out every night of the week.
Yeah, it goes such a long way.
It's so literally clothes. I buy everything.
Wow.
I got nearly £360 a month, and it was just so much money.
Those days are over.
Yeah, yes. It's probably the richest I've ever been.
Jeez.
So that was fun. I mean, that lasted. We used to watch Neighbours. I remember Neighbours on the telly. In the two vivid things I remember from the post office is watching Neighbours at lunchtime and playing for the football team. And then they had like pool table and they had tables. So it was like almost going to college. Like after school, it was like...
Yeah, quite fun. All your mates are there as well.
It was just cool. So we had a good football team. And anyway, so it lasted about 8 months, but I was waiting to get into design. I really wanted to get into design, and this was before computers. I mean, this is how old we're talking about. I went to work for a design firm. They had one computer for the whole design company.
That's not like today. It's like
that's what I mean. So there was no Apple Mac. Yeah. Nothing was invented then. So
I can remember my first computer, which was old. It was an old first Mac.
Yeah. Well, it's the typesetting. So I got into, and that was literally printing off like the words and pasted it onto paper, making sure all the lines were. That's how you made up magazines. It was crazy. So anyway, I went in as a photographer's assistant, which was basically just being in a dark room all day, just. Like,
so fun
massaging the paper to get
getting the chemicals and like
that was all I did, and I loved it. I had my own music in there, and I'd just be in there, just looking forward to the weekends and going out. And then that company got merged with another company, and they shut our department. And I just at the time had about 2 or 3 gigs, maybe about. It was kind of coming up to the summer, and I got laid off. I don't know, because like I said, the clothes company, they laid me off, which they paid me like 3 or 4 months' money. And I just said to my mum and dad, I've got some DJ work. I'm not going to rush back. I'm going to give this a little bit of a try. And they were really supportive. They said, yeah, go for it. Like,
were they?
You got enough money to last you till September. Just go for it. And that was it. That was literally what I never thought it was a job. I just thought I'd have a really good summer, and started doing some parties as well, because I realised that promoting your own parties, instead of getting paid 50 quid or 80 quid, you could earn like 400 or 500 quid per party. Yeah. So I joined up with someone, and we just started doing some parties.
Is that when you met Wayne?
No, this was way before that. This was way before Soul Avengerz. This is just me.
So you're just DJing?
Just DJing, yeah.
The production came later?
Production came probably 10 years later, when I realised that you needed to, that was the next stage. Nowadays, you have to have that now.
You have to have this.
But just being a good DJ, just being a good warm-up DJ, learning my trade, understanding what it takes to be a good warm-up DJ, and, and that's it, yeah.
And I think that's a good lesson for now.
It's a really good lesson. That is understanding what you're being given. So if you get given a chance to do a warm-up set, don't try and, be the star.
Yeah,
keep it really groovy. And you'll get more respect. I got a lot of respect back then. And there was a lot of people
don't play all the records the headline DJ is going to drop.
And it was a really valuable lesson. I remember meeting Judge Jules really early. He was really young at the time as well.
He's my lawyer.
He's my lawyer as well.
Is he?
Yeah, of course.
A lot of people don't know this, but Judge Jules is an actual music solicitor.
Yeah, he's a legend. He? Yeah. That's why it's called Judge Jules.
That's why it's called Judge Jules.
That's so...
And he's a real workworkaholic, and he's a
workaholic.
He's
with Barry, isn't he?
Yeah. My manager manages him as well, but he's super nice guy. But he's been my music lawyer for years.
Well, he gave me some work experience. He probably doesn't even remember this, but I went to his house when he was, and I was just blown away, and I really wanted to do it then. I mean, I was probably 19. He was probably, I don't know how old he is, more than me, maybe 25. And I was just like, wow.
Thank God there's somebody older than us, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah, just lots of little things like that happened. And like I said, I was really, it wasn't that many DJs as well. So you got quite a few gigs. You got quite a few warm-up gigs.
Yeah. Did you ever step out of it and do something else? Did you take other work and kind of step off? So you kept going.
I've literally...
You never...
No, I've never...
The contingency fallback plan?
No.
Really?
I don't give up.
I don't know how I've lasted that long. Like when I look back and even talking about a residency that was amazing for me, which I did for 24 years, which I think a resident...
Was that Warehouse?
Warehouse, yeah. Resident advisor said that's the longest residency in house music history.
It's so cool.
Sorry, just on the back of that, and then this is something important to you, is that really taught me how to understand how to salvage a night, if the guest DJ was terrible, how to bring it back, and just, being a resident DJ is so valuable and it's overlooked nowadays, and you don't really get clubs investing in residents. They just have lots of random DJs every week, and there's no continuity.
That's the graph.
I knew what the crowd wanted. I'd go in. I'd probably get the manager in my ear going, get him off his rubbish. Why are we paying him so much? Or whatever. And they go, I'm not getting him off.
It's true.
But you kind of had that. You was always there to correct a night or keep it going. You learn a lot.
You hone the craft.
Yeah.
You kind
so
of
important.
You learn how to be sensitive to those things. I was saying, anything that you're able to do again and again, especially if you're able to do it in the same place.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, you and Claire telling me, this was, Joe must have been in his early teens.
It would have been about, yeah.
And you came to me and of course, knowing I was gay, you felt comfortable to tell me that, that actually that your son, and you weren't sure at that point, if you really weren't sure at all if it was a matter of him being gay, or if it was a sort of maybe on the sort of gender spectrum of, because now, of course, things have come a long way. We understand that the, sex is a lot more complicated. Gender is a lot more complicated, and it has a lot more layers and levels than we perhaps previously thought. So, I was really moved at the time with the way you handled that. I'm very conscious of the fact that my parents being religious and from the South and having come from a very conservative kind of background themselves, when I came out to them, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was very much prepared for the worst, because at the end of the day, we see it over and over again, parents rejecting their children on the basis of something that they just don't understand, or something that just instills them with fear. If they don't get it and they can't immediately compartmentalize it and they can't identify it, then sometimes, unfortunately, the reaction is actually to expel it and to hate it. And we've seen this happen again and again, but you did not do this with Joe. He was, we're telling me these great stories because he was really like, he's now studying at, by the way, at
Central St.
Martin's, which, if you don't know, is literally like the mecca of design schools. And but he obviously was already talented in this way, and he would come downstairs. You'd be having like all your mates around, you have lunch, and he'd come down like wearing a dress. And it was like everybody, including you and Claire, and everybody, all your friends, and just kind of accepted, like you didn't quite know what was going on, but just loved it.
Well, one thing, we have a really, really tight friendship. Like lots of, like Claire's friends are the same friends from school. My friends are the same friends from school. We're all godparents to each other's children, and so I guess he felt really comfortable. He calls them his cousins. They're not cousins, but there's a group.
Oh, so nice.
There's there are at least 8 or 10 on my side and probably 5 on Claire's side that are all grown up. All the kids are all entwined, and everyone, we go on little camping holidays together. And I felt like, we was never going to shun him or out him. And we kind of knew early doors anyway.
Right.
And we just gave him the confidence. He didn't have to ever come out. We just knew. But I think he was pushing his boundaries a little bit at that time to see where he fits and how much he could because he had the blonde wig and he'd come down and I remember my brother, who's obviously his uncle, like, who's that? And it's just like these long legs coming down the stairs. Like, who the hell was that? I was like, that's Joe.
That's Joe.
Yeah, that's your nephew.
Josephine.
Yeah. So, yeah, we had some fun, but he felt completely comfortable.
He just felt
completely comfortable.
Did he ever have the conversation? Did he ever feel the need to sit down and go, Mom, Dad, I'm this, I'm that?
No, I don't. No. You know what? Maybe we did have it. I don't remember. Maybe had it with Claire.
That says everything. If it wasn't even remarkable enough for you to remember, that says a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, this story, I don't know, it touched me then, and honestly, it touches me now. It makes.
I've said to him a few times, you don't realise how lucky you are to be gay in this era where there's a lot more acceptance. But he had a hard time at school. Remember, he went to a Catholic school, which he was quite feisty in school, and he like campaigned for the school to like when they did Sleeping Beauty, he pushed back saying, why does it always have to be a girl? Why don't it be a boy? All of that stuff. He was always pushing back. And,
I love it.
And as a school, they wasn't very open to the gay thing because it was a really big Catholic school.
But he did it anyway.
Oh yeah, he had petitions going and everything. So we got calls from the headmaster saying, you need to tell Joe to slow down a bit. He's gone to the papers or whatever he'd done.
Go to the local newsletter.
So he was fighting for that cause. But what Claire always said to him is, once you get out of school, always, because he had to get a coach to school because it was quite a far away school, and there was a bit of bullying and it used to make me really angry.
Of course,
but as a parent, it would. But Claire always said to him, once you get out of school, the world is accepting now. You'll be you'll thrive.
As a parent, I'm sure that was incredibly comforting to be able to tell your child that because, it's certainly true, at least in comparison to a different time.
Yeah.
Yes. But of course, these times, I mean, what we're seeing currently is really shocking. I mean, in a way, you feel like you've gone so far, the LGBTQIA, LMNOP community, we've gone and made these strides, and then you then watch just as people just sort of take two steps back, and then and now it is the sort of trans and the gender non-binary and the and even just drag artists that are under attack in a way that is incomprehensible to me and sad and really angry, really makes me angry. But I love the fact that because the truth is, what I'm going to say to you, Paul, is this, he was lucky to come out at a time when once he was free and didn't have to go to school anymore, it would be a kinder world. It would be a more open and he could thrive. Yeah. But what he will never really fully understand is how lucky he was to have you guys, because to have parents and their friends and extended family be the way you were, this is a gift. It shouldn't be.
Oh, no, yeah.
It shouldn't
I couldn't imagine it any other way, though.
But, this is what's so beautiful. Did you come from a particularly liberal, open, kind of forward-thinking sort of family?
No, I don't think me or Claire did. I mean, my mum and dad are pretty accepting of most people, but they're not liberal. They're not hippie. They're not come from that kind of...
Do you think your experience being an artist, being a DJ... traveling the world, having the opportunity to kind of see all these different places and meet all these different people. Do you think that helped to kind of
I think it even came,
you know
what? I think it came before that. I think when we discovered raving and going out clubbing in 88, 89, 90, I thought that was the most liberating of all of them. Because so you was dancing next to, everyone and anyone. Everyone could be who they wanted to be.
And that is actually, those are the roots of house.
That's the roots of house.
That is the roots of house.
I'd say that was probably that made me come from being a boy from Islington or Hackney and could have just gone. I mean, I always remember, this is a funny story. I always remember still playing football on a Sunday morning, or trying to, and going out and partying on Saturday. And we felt we was really part of something really special, me and my mates.
Yeah.
But the football lot was still going to the pub, having a fight, having a kebab. And you kind of had, and we was kind of growing these curtains, and they were like, why are you, you're turning up with granddad's shirts on, like the kind of button down and the kickers and start wearing like kind of dungarees and stuff. Right. And they were just going, and these boys were like, going down Ritzy,
Yo, man, what's
going to
going
pull a
on?
bird. And they're like, what the hell are you guys doing? And we was like, we felt we was part of something really...
It's all about house,
Yeah,
baby.
exactly that. And it felt really special. We felt it was a bit of a secret. And
yeah, you were part of almost part of a secret
cult.
community.
It was like a cult.
Yeah.
A cult, but like a kind of cult built on love.
It was literally, and you would go to these, and like I said, you would dance with people, hug them. Every single walk of life would be there. There was
That is
no
a really interesting
and I think
point.
that probably helps
That
to
yeah.
kind of understand.
So it wasn't the career, it was the music itself.
It was the music at the beginning, right at the beginning. Yeah.
And that's, I think that's been the case for so many people, and that's why I think for some it's also been so threatening, because the power of it. It's not just a night out of dancing. It actually has the power to transform your entire perspective, for the rest of your life.
Yeah, 100%.
Once you have been in that, you've shared that moment on a dance floor with all of these so-called freaks, and you realize you're a freak too.
Yeah.
We're all freaks.
Yeah.
And that it doesn't matter, and that we're all the same, and like you can't ever go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you I don't know if now it's the same for a younger generation. I mean, I would imagine, for any generation, if you haven't had that experience, I mean, it's hard to be what you haven't seen. And in a way, I would imagine to some degree it still plays that role for, I mean, did you have a moment as a young teenager where you discovered that this was there and it was, kind of a liberating experience?
I think definitely, especially after like when you hear like amazing music for the first time and everyone is there enjoying the music and is there just to dance and just like forget everything and have a good time because they're all like together on the dance floor. I think after that moment I realised like music's got such a strong power that even like it brings everyone from all walks of life to
which is dancing in a field under, whatever it is, you just have those amazing memories.
And I guess the real privilege of a DJ is that you're in a position of power to take that and do something with it. It's a chance to make a change. And to change people's lives in ways that you'll never really know.
And you do meet people, and you kind of meet people down the line and go, oh, I remember, and I don't remember these things. They'll go, I remember I came to see you at this club, and they'll say it was such a special night, or I met my wife there, and we're now married, and we've got kids.
That's so
it's all down to you.
You're just there like, all right.
Amazing, yeah.
Anyway, Paul, Gardner, MiNNA.
Thanks for having me.
Going to be doing some productions as well soon, and so looking forward to
I'm excited.
Where your wings take you. And
I'm always here for some advice.
Yeah, best advice.
Life advice.
Life advice.